Introducing the heart-shaped box. We have a little time to spare, so pay attention. This is a new challenge. This project you're going to have to get on. So what I want to do is just kind of show you from one of our local artisans here, Jada McCovey. She has done this really nice rendering of what's called a puzzle box. All right, now a puzzle box just means that the pieces go together. All right, so what we're going to have is a bottom. We're going to create one solid side that goes together with our top and our bottom. And then finally, we're going to put designs with our leftover clay on the outside. So stick with me. I'm going to show you how to do a heart shaped, but if you want to do a circle or you want to do an oval, that's up to you. But what I want you to do is really start paying attention to your detail, because we're going to be adding characters, we're going to be adding color. So as you come back into the classroom, this challenge just gets a little bit harder, but not too hard. So you're going to have a top and a bottom, and I'll show you how to do all that coming up. All right. That should be perfect. So this should wrap around this whole side and for your entire piece. So those are, you're going to need your template. You'll need a needle tool or a sharp pencil, or you could also use a knife. You're going to need your scoring tool, a little bit of slip with some water. If you have a little sponge, that's awesome. That smooths it out when you're getting it done. Get a little water, all right, to use, and a scoring tool. So anything can be used as a scoring tool. You're going to get your piece of clay. It's going to be about a 1 pound piece of clay. You're going to go from here to there. So what our piece is going to be about 1/4 of an inch here, okay? And all of our pieces, we want to make it a little longer. So remember how we made things kind of boxy and square? This one, we want to make at least the length of one of our strips right here. So this strip is going to get cut out, and then we want to give ourselves, so we'll put our strip here somewhere right about there, so we can fit at least one and then 2 hearts onto there. The leftover clay is what we're going to use for our characters that we put on the side of our heart-shaped box, or any other box that we want to kind of create. Now think of the characters that you want to use, just simple characters that you cut out, like the moons, like stars. Hearts are really good. Heartbeats, you can even carve into the side of your heart-shaped box, not deep. The process of cutting it in half, you'll definitely have to have, I guess, the best thing that you can use comparatively, like here in the classroom, we have what they call clay knives. They're used for cutting clay. We also have other types of knives as cutting tools, but the best thing to use at home would probably be a steak knife, but make sure you have water around to keep it nice and smooth and gliding through that piece of clay. All right, let's move on to the next section. All right, so what we have here is our slab of clay. What we're going to do is try to measure out our pieces onto this slab. So I'm going to use this upper portion for this section here, and then I'm going to fit my 2 heart shapes right here. I'm going to knock this out, and I'll fast forward it while I'm doing it, and you can see what we're doing. The important thing is that when you're cutting out these pieces, use a sharp tool. All right. If it's kind of jagged, just tune it up with your sponge. With a little bit of water on it. Okay? Check it out. All right, so what I'm going to do is just cut them out. Use my template. Keep going back. Get water on my sharp tool that's cutting it out. And a little bit of water there. Finish cutting it around. Getting all the way deeper. Cutting out the hearts. And removing the clay around it. Remember, use that extra clay to build your characters on the box itself. Just tune it up with a little sponge And there we go. Our template's all ready to go. All right, so we're starting off with our template here. This entire project probably took me about an hour from beginning to end. So I'm going to start off. You could use your sharp tool. If you have a needle tool, awesome, but use a pencil. This is what they call a clay knife. It's about the width of a steak knife. So as long as you have water sitting inside and a sponge, that should work just fine if you're using just a standard steak knife. This is a scoring tool. We're going to need to score our edges. Remember, any two pieces of clay that go together need to be scored and slip added. So just kind of going back and show you my different tools that I use. And I'm just going to start scoring around the edges of the heart. And then finally, working on a few items and putting the scored edges together. Now that's going to be this edge here. That's going to be my width of my heart-shaped box. So I'm just scoring like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'll actually cut this piece in half right where the two portions of the heart go together. Now, here's what's cool. I made a bottle of slip instead of going back and forth and doing slip. Now it gets a little messy, so try to hang in there. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm kind of doing. I'll slow it down when I go to do some different portions, but most of the time I'm just going to move through this pretty quick. Oh, there's quite a bit of mess. So I'll use that extra slip later on in my project. All right, so we sped it up a little bit here. What I'm doing is I'm just placing the slip on the edge. I'm going to wrap it around the edge of that heart from that one point to the middle of the heart, and then I'm going to cut at kind of a beveled angle so the two pieces of clay will go together nicely. And I'm going to take the other half, and I'm just going to kind of wrap it around. Make sure you slip and score those bottoms nicely, and it will go together a lot easier for you. From this point here, I just start to use my scoring tool to smooth around those edges, and I use the sponge to smooth a little further to make the edge, the width of the heart-shaped box a little smoother, a little more easier to work with. So I'm just going to a little divot on the inside to try to push those two edges together and make the edge a little stronger. And then finally I'll put my top on. Now remember, same thing, slip and score both the sides and the top. There we go. Add a little slip and make a little mess. There you go. And then put on the top and do the same thing again. So it's kind of like when we put the two pinch pots together. You know, we made a nice hollow inside, and there we have it. Smooth it out. And now we start thinking about what kind of characters we want to put on the outside. We can do everything from a present box to more hearts or moons or any other characters. Make them simple. Make them easy to use. So here I took a couple of my little extra pieces, and I'm just kind of winging it off the top of my head. Just going to cut at an angle, make a little diamond shape, and just see how it looks on there. It's okay. And then I'm going to flatten out a nice little piece of clay. And, well, I like that inspiration from Jada, so I'm going to try to make a little moon. See what that looks like on there. It looks okay, but I got other ideas too. My edge, when I go to cut it, I really want to think, what else can I put on this? All right, so the next thing I did, I just made a nice little slab out of the rest of my clay again, and I'm just going to start cutting out a bunch of figures. Really, I didn't make any template. I didn't draw out anything. I'm just kind of putting stuff together in my head, and I'm kind of thinking that, hey, you know what would look good? a nice little wrap around this box. Okay, remember when you do the edges though, you're going to be cutting through the center. So I'm going to cut a top of the ribbon and kind of the bottom of the ribbon, and I'm going to put them on separately. So I don't have to cut through two huge layers of clay. We'll slip the score, put that on, and now I'm going to work on the edges, and then I'm going to add figures to the top. And check out how it goes. Enjoy the music. All right, so when we go and put our pieces together, what we want to do is just carve out a little portion of clay right on the side where the puzzle box is supposed to go. And that will keep it going together nice and easy, because if you put the glaze in there and then fire it, it won't lock together like a good puzzle box. It will cause it to be too tight. So take a little bit of clay out of there, out of the bottom portion, and you'll be good to go, just like I did here.